Introducing the original Blitz Hacker from K-tel. 3 parts lock securely in place when in use and are easy to clean. 6 stainless steel blades rotate automatically. Does 4 jobs: chops, dices, minces, crushes ice.
The innovator of the hard sell TV spot and founder of Winnipeg legend K-tel, Philip Kives, came a long way from his humble roots on a Saskatchewan farm. Born in 1929, he was a natural salesman, even as a boy.
When he was just 8 years old, he made his first trap line, and he caught furs from weasels and muskrats. And not only did he sell these furs, but he bought the furs from the other kids in school, and he would sell them at auctions and make a profit. You had to be a survivor. It was survival of the fittest.
Wintertime, I started going to the big city of Winnipeg. It was a big city for me in those days. I started getting odd jobs. I drove taxi for a while and drove truck for a while, and finally one year I started selling door to door, and I actually did very well. And I sold for a number of years. Then I landed up in the boardwalk in Atlantic City. I learned quickly there that the strong survive and the weak die. So I rented a spot from the Woolworth people in the front, facing onto the boardwalk. So you got to bring in 900 a day, we get a third, because if you don't produce, there's 10 people behind you who are going to take your spot.
And produce he did. In 1962, Phil had an idea that would change advertising forever.
I came back to Winnipeg. I went on live on the TV station Winnipeg with a non-stick fry pan. I was one of the very first people that I know of that went on live on TV with products or gadgets in those days on television. There just wasn't.
Phil had invented the infomercial, and his company, Kives Television, aka K-tel, used the formula to great success.
Phil had a vision of what the commercial would be, and then, it was either 30 seconds or 60 seconds. He knew his timing. He was an expert at that. He knew how many words for this part of the commercial, how many words for that part of the commercial, and we used to hash out the hard sell commercials right in the kitchen. And very often we would do the commercials at home, and if we needed some subjects in the commercial, like for demonstrating, or if we needed young kids, our kids might be in it, or they'd ask their friends. He was very hands-on.
K-tel grew exponentially, and by the early 80s was in over 100 countries worldwide. K-tel was making a sale every 1.5 seconds at the height of their success. The other component was marketing products that every household could use. K-tel's style was so infamous, they were even parodied on SCTV.
Or the amazing record stacker. Now get set for something new from K-tel. K-tel's fast-talking playhouse. That's right, classic, specially condensed.
But wait, there's more.
Introducing Brush-O-Matic with its new patented nylon head. It removes every particle of dust and fluff instantly. Always brush in the direction of arrow. Rotating the head enables you to brush both ways.
Stop littering. Some of those empty bottles can be valuable. As a drink tumbler or a vase, even a unique ashtray. K-tel bottle cutter does it all quickly and easily.
Introducing the Bonsai Blade. To abuse this blade, we cut through a metal screw, yet it still slices tomatoes wafer thin. The knife for life, never need sharpening.
Hi, I'm Liberace. For all my friends in Canada, K-tel has put together this exciting album of some of my favorite.
I was one of the very first that ever put records on television and into retail stores. We had good contacts over the years with the artists, with the record companies, with the managers of the artists, and we were able to get to these people. We were outside Caesar's Palace. We had to stop all the traffic from going and coming, because I'm working with Sammy Davis and doing a commercial here. And in the middle of it all, along comes Jackie Gleason. And, they start hugging and kissing each other, and the cars are blowing, and so I said, listen, we got to get this done. And he ran me through the hoop for 2-3 days, He kept telling me he doesn't know what he's doing with me there, because General Electric were paying him all this big money. And I said, look, I don't know what the hell I'm doing here with you either, because I don't think this album's going to sell anyhow.
An album called The Sounds of Sammy Davis Jr. I think it's dynamite.
Records were business, but horse racing was Phil's passion, and he took it just as seriously.
Phil was he was a giant in our industry, and he wasn't just a horse owner, but he was a horse breeder, and he was at the absolute top of the game. So he took a lot of pride in raising horses here in Manitoba and bringing them to the track. He did his homework. I mean, he didn't guess. He didn't ask for someone else's opinion. It was a plan that he put together.
One of his favorite things to do was take the kids in the morning. When he went to talk to his trainer, Phil would go all the time and he'd bring the kids. It was a routine thing with us to go to the horses.
He literally won every single stakes race at Assiniboia Downs over 3 decades, and he won them many times. Therefore, his expectations to win were very, very high. If he didn't win, he was not a guy to, fear making change. And so he went through a number of trainers, and Phil was a very busy guy. As I say, he was permanently on an airplane, permanently had a place to go. But he took care of business with his trainers through a fax machine. So if you were fired by fax more often than not. So word on the street in the back, Phil's going to retain your services as a trainer. Good luck. You're going to get some incredible horse flesh to condition. Having said that, throw your fax machine out the window right now.
Phil's horse trainers weren't the only ones who had business problems.
We got into things that perhaps we shouldn't have got into, such as oil and gas and real estate, and all our real estate was in the oil and gas countries in the U.S. as well. And the market suddenly collapsed, and we were hung out with all this real estate and oil and gas, and they took the name, they took the company, they walked in, they took the whole thing on me, and I walked out actually, and that was it, you know. And 4 days before court time, we settled with the bank, and we got the company back, and 8 months later we worked our way out of Chapter 11. I put about $4 million cash into the company, and that was it.
One thing about Philip, which always struck me and impressed me, was, and this is a point that his son Daniel made, I recall at his funeral, that he treated everyone the same, notwithstanding his success. He would always ask the taxi cab, "How's business?" And if it was good, why is it good? And if it's bad, why is it bad? And how do they get paid? And are they earning a living? And are they keeping up with the cost of living? And I took it it was a natural curiosity, but he did have an interest in wanted to appreciate how other people were coping with their everyday life.
A few years ago, he got a letter from a grade sixer. He was doing a project at school on a famous Canadian, and he had chosen Philip. And would he mind dropping by? Phil didn't think twice about it. He wrote the kid back and he said, "Sure, I'd love to see what you did about me." Phil sent him a Vegematic and a few stickers, and Phil went. And apparently at the school it was like chaos. Like everybody was so excited because they never had a famous Canadian come to one of the projects. Next day it was in the newspaper that Philip Kives, and it had a picture of him with his arm around the little boy. He told the little boy that he was going to be a big businessman one day. That was Phil and his community. He loved it.
He loved Winnipeg, and I do distinctly remember a comment from him along the lines of, Phil, you could live anywhere. Toronto, New York, Los Angeles, why Winnipeg? And he's very clear that it was just the greatest place in the world to raise a family.
Family was absolutely everything to Philip. We were his pride and joy. He couldn't do enough for us. If it was for me or the kids, he would bend over backwards to be there. School concerts, birthday parties, at the lake, at the cottage, Halloween, he was there for everything. He didn't want to miss a thing.
His interest in other people and the fairness with which, the respect he had for other people, regardless of their status, so to speak, and the way he treated others. It just didn't matter who you were. And to me, that's his legacy.